Hey everyone, welcome back to another amazing episode of Jujutsu Kaisen Watch Along Pod. This is my co-host DK, who does also have the ability to do cursed speech sometimes.
Nice.
And not just cussing.
Yeah, which is why I mainly speak in this podcast in the ingredients of rice balls. And of course, I'm joined by Kevin Ketchum, the Nerdy Jock, whose curse energy technique is that he plays electric guitar.
Yeah, that was my best air guitar there. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see. If you're listening, check out the YouTube as well.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. We're chugging right along on our new format where we're going through Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, an episode at a time. We just came out of episode 17, Kyoto Sister School Exchange Group Battle Part 3. Which we were both a little bit disappointed by.
Yeah, not our favorite episode. A lot of exposition, not too much character development. Like you could have said the whole episode, it was mainly a little bit of a sibling rivalry between Maki and Mai. A little bit of Momo in there as well.
Right.
Really all the episode, and we just found out that, sibling rivalry. Who doesn't have that,
Well,
right?
and also this huge civil rivalry, world building thing that was just smashed into maybe 5 minutes of exposition. So it's like, okay, there was a lot. But this episode, we really turn a corner.
This is awesome. I mean, so this episode we're talking about now, 18. The whole series, this is the tits.
Yeah, these are great. I mean, I did not expect. Well, I did predict in an earlier episode that it was going to go in this direction,
right?
Because but that wasn't just because I was like, oh, maybe they'll do the Naruto, the Chunin exam thing. But I think that we're starting to see the pattern in the way that this story is told, where it's just kind of like, okay, for 3 episodes, we're going to set this thing up, and then by episode 4, we're just going to completely flip it on its head and turn it around. And if there is a formula to Jujutsu Kaisen, it is that. So it's like, okay.
And it did it. It did it.
Pretty much.
I mean, and it starts out running. I mean, through the gates, right? You don't know what's happening. It just kind of cuts right to Megumi fighting Kamo.
Yeah.
Right? So they're in one of the temples on the battlegrounds, and they are going at it. Kamo is shooting these cursed arrows because we learn quickly that he has the blood manipulation cursed energy ability.
Right.
So basically, he can blood dope, guys. That's the deal. He's a pro athlete.
He is taking like EPO or something to increase his blood for this technique. And I mean, Megumi's kind of just running around with these 2 tonfa, just kind of blocking everything and dodging. And he's just like, I'm just going to wait for you to pass out from anemia or something. But yeah, so they're running, they're having this epic battle.
And they seem at this point, they seem fairly equal. Like I think it's safe to say that they're pretty much equals at this point in rank.
Right. I would say that again, like we're being shown Kamo's power.
Right.
It's unique, it's interesting. We haven't really seen it yet. And Megumi, for all the mystery about him, is still only using physical attacks and his Shikigami.
Yeah. It's like it's funny to me, just on a quick side tangent, is that everyone talks about how powerful Megumi has the ability to be. Even Kamo mentions that himself, right? He says, "Oh wow, he could, he has potential to be the head of the Zenin clan," which we find out he's a Zenin member.
There is some mystery about that. We're kind of teased a little bit more about his connection to that clan.
But he has the ability, Megumi has the ability to summon 10 different Shikigami, right? And it seems to me that all these things are just quick distractions. These are like parlor tricks, in my opinion. Like, I haven't seen a Shikigami do actual damage to anyone or anything since the show started.
Right. And also
is that unfair? I don't know.
Not at all.
Right.
And I don't want to be a wet blanket about this, but I really this fight kind of bored me because it's just Megumi saying stuff that we've already heard him say about his thing about how I'm going to selfishly save the people that I want to save.
Right.
Here is this person that didn't deserve to be cursed, and I learned from this person that I'm going to save the people that I want to save selfishly and indiscriminately. Right. And I'm just like, we've heard all this stuff before. I just want to see what his power is. Why is Sukuna so interested in him? And I don't want to hear the same exposition dump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, shoot it in my veins. Give me some good Megumi info, man. I'm tired of this whole, you just mentioned it. I think he says the same line as he did like earlier episodes.
I think he says it twice within this episode too.
He does the same speech that he did to Yuji when he was explaining like why he fights and like who he fights for.
Right.
And what he fights against. I was like, did he just use the same dialogue from episode 4 or 5?
It wasn't even 20 episodes ago. We didn't forget it. It's
still there.
Yeah.
But we love this episode. This actually is a bomb-ass episode.
This is a great episode.
It's a great episode.
I'm going to complain a lot, though. Yeah. If you're a Jujutsu Kaisen stan, you're going to hear some hot takes. Because, like number one right now, Megumi is a main character from episode 1, still feels underdeveloped.
I don't know who this guy is.
All this mystery, all these, like, again... I feel like Akutami, he says Evangelion's my biggest influence. I feel like the things that he was most influenced by were all of the I am statements from Evangelion.
Right.
But lacking the huge depth that these things led to. I mean, Shinji in episode 1 of Evangelion, if I could just touch on that really quick, from the moment that you meet him, there's this underlying thing where he's like, there's something kind of off about him where it's like, oh, I'm doing this, but I don't want to do this. Like, I have this tension with my father. I have this or that. And then he doesn't want to pilot the Ava.
There's longing there too, but there's also apprehension. There's just a lot of mixed emotions without much dialogue.
Right.
Like you can feel it.
And he doesn't make like a philosophical statement. He says, I can't pilot the Ava. Like, what makes you think I can do this? And the dad Gendo's like, okay, you're not going to do it. Like, we'll bring in the other pilot. And he just shuts down and goes, I wasn't needed after all.
Right.
And it's like that line has so much more weight than I want to save everybody that I want to save.
Because I need to save
Because I discriminate against who I want to save and who I don't want to save. It's like, we all do that.
Yes.
We all discriminate every day. We go to the grocery store. We're like, I want burritos today and not hamburgers. It's like nothing about this is interesting. I don't know who you are, Megumi. We're this far into the series. I've heard you wax poetic. I've heard Sukuna like get super thirsty for you, like your energy and stuff like that. I don't know who you are. And I feel like Inumaki, who doesn't even say anything, is a more developed character, which is crazy.
I mean, look, guys, like we're not hating it. We do sound like haters, but like this is anime. We get it. Like there is a situation. There are animes where you're gonna have to have a lot of exposition or something like that. But if you're gonna do a big exposition dump, in my honest opinion, if you're doing an anime, give us a little tease of something that's going to come, that's going to hopefully be settled in the next few episodes. Or give him like I shouldn't use this technique right now because so-and-so. Or like, just drop something into this batch of whatever stew you're cooking for Megumi's plot. Drop something in there. Give me a little dropper, just a couple drops of whatever kind of cooking ingredient I need to just spice it up. Okay, because I get it. Like, I know there's going to be huge exposition dumps. I know that's important to the plot. I know that's how we're going to further the plot for this show in particular. Other shows are a lot different, as we just mentioned. But in this show, I get it. We're going to do it. There's actually not just plot details, but just the explanation of how the cursed energy world works. It is very much like getting involved in a 10-year Dungeons and Dragons game. Like, there is a lot of details you're going to have to know. And I think JJK is doing a great job. Jujutsu Kaisen is doing a really good job of, at their best, trying to explain the whole world while, building an interesting narrative. But there are a lot of situations where it's like, it just goes on and on, the exposition. I was like, if you're going to do plot building and talk about how a cursed energy technique that comes out of nowhere is important, then you don't need to do, 3 minutes of dialogue about why you're fighting. Just show me.
Right. I mean, one very effective technique that shonen storytelling does is overwhelm the character by putting them against people who are seemingly, they have an advantage over them in some way. Even in Rurouni Kenshin is the strongest swordsman in Rurouni Kenshin, but because he won't kill people...
He's a Batman, man.
Yeah, he won't kill people. Like, he can be overwhelmed by people's advantages. Like Hanya has the illusion where his arm stretches and stuff like that. And these people all want to kill. So in every fight that Himura Kenshin has with somebody, he seems to be at a disadvantage until he has to bust out a new Hiten Mitsurugi move. The problem that Jujutsu Kaisen has, which I realized as you were talking, is that all of these fights are evenly matched. There is no moment where Megumi has to overcome his limit, and every time he almost does, he gets saved somehow. Like Yuji takes back over from Sukuna, or Inumaki comes over and defeats Todo,
or Hanami shows up, or something happens to break the tension of the scene.
Right.
To give everyone a free pass, basically.
Right. But because everybody's so evenly matched, it doesn't really feel like there's tension. I mean, Panda and Mekamaru, pretty much the same level. Momo, Nobara, pretty much the same level. And like you said, at the very beginning of this episode, Megumi and Kamo, basically the same level.
Basically the same level.
So there's nothing to do except for talk about personal philosophy versus like it's the David Mamet thing. There is no such thing as character. Character is only what people do.
Yeah.
So what they do, and what especially what they do when their back is against the wall, when they're on their back foot. It's like, okay, now what can I do? Like, imagine if Megumi was overwhelmed by this blood arrow technique. What if he's getting shot full of holes or something? Or like the arrows can like track, there seems to be that component. Maybe he starts to get the upper hand, but then the blood doping thing kind of takes over. But it's like, nope. Just shove all this information and then like move on to the next part. That is the modus operandi of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Right.
And I feel like that is its biggest weakness so far.
Right. Yeah. And I get it, guys. Go in the comments. I know everyone who's watching is huge fans of JK. Let us know. Like, we love this show, but there's also some pretty big gaping problems that we do have with this show that should be fixed for it to be top tier. I haven't seen season 2, but I've heard a lot of great stuff. Like, say, check it out, and I'm loving it. But it's also, it's got the flaws are pretty big and pretty noticeable.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest shows in the world right now. And the thing that everybody says, like if I give the most lukewarm review of this show to people who love it, it's like, yeah, I don't really love how the story's kind of, this roller coaster. I do kind of love a story that just goes like this, where the stakes build. Everybody that I've talked to at least agrees. They're like, yeah, but just wait till season 2. And I almost feel like I shouldn't have to wait till season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, Megumi, he's been with us since episode 1. We're on episode 18 right now, and I still don't know who he is.
I would say as far as characters introduced from the very beginning, he's quite possibly the least fleshed out at this point.
Less so than Nobara.
Yeah.
And there's no mystery about her, but she has a stronger sense of self. And I already hear the fanboys going nuts. Like, screw Nobara, she's useless. Whatever. It's like, I'm just saying what the impression has been so far. You could put her in a situation and I would be like, can reasonably expect to know what she would do.
Right.
Megumi, he would probably talk about how he discriminately saves people or something. And that's basically all we know.
Again. Okay, so that was a tangent. Sorry, but not sorry. It is what it is, guys. That's how we feel. Let us know in the comments if you disagree or agree. I think that's a fair point to make. Yeah,
I mean, if you have a counterpoint of like why this works better than a lot of stuff, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. No, and I'm not saying that in an asshole way. Like I would actually love to hear that take. Right. So yeah, let us know. We'll move on from this so we don't talk about it forever.
Because this episode does rock.
It does.
It does.
We just talk shit for like 5 to 10 minutes, but this episode does kick ass. Rock, like it ups the stakes so much.
So much.
But first we have that cute little moment with Miwa where she's singing the "My Sword Got Taken Away" song, and she just is so sad, alone in the woods, and then her phone rings. And it's Inumaki, and he puts her to sleep over the phone.
But like he's using a fake number or VPN or something, and she thinks it's what's his name?
I think he stole it from Momo.
Oh, he stole it from Momo.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we forgot to mention in the last episode, Momo was like, I can't go all out against Nobara because I have to constantly look over my shoulder for Inumaki.
Right.
Because there was this world building established. It's like, well, if you see him coming, if you just put cursed energy in your ears,
they should block it out like
his speech,
cotton balls.
Yeah, like so. I guess the speech only works if you hear it,
right,
or something, But yeah, so she gets a call either from Mekamaru or from Momo.
Great moment here, by the way. You missed the most important part, Dan, where she answers the phone and she says, "This is useless Miwa here."
Oh yeah, that was great.
I'm like, oh my god, poor girl, because I love that character, but it is funny. She's like, it is sometimes, being forward with the audience and just saying a characterization that the audience would probably agree with. It'll give you a good laugh.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's adorable. It was great. And then we also we know that Gakuganji and Kyoto that they're trying to kill Yuji because they said as much. but it goes a little bit deeper.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we talked a little bit about how they might have tried to stack the arena against them, and they did. There's supposed to be a strong second-tiered curse or level 2 curse at the end of it, but actually it's an almost special grade. That has been trained. It has been blood trained, and that they're going to use to try to kill Yuji after he's been weakened by his fight with Todo.
Yeah. We find this out through a quick flashback as well, and we know Goku Ganji, because he does this with his beard. If you're watching,
he gives a vial. He's like, this is the blood that this thing was trained with. He gives it to Kamo.
And he says, blow the whistle, and then it'll know to follow the blood, basically.
Yeah.
So they've trained a curse that's not special grade, but very close, a first grade curse at the least. And it's ugly. It's scary. It's a scary looking curse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very Junji Ito-esque, like a lot of the best curse designs in this series are. It's a very scary looking thing. And then, it was funny because we cut right back to Kamo saying like philosophizing and being like, just so you know, I do want to kill Itadori Yuji, but not because Gakuganji wants him dead. I want to kill him for my own reasons. Yeah. It's like, okay.
He's like my ninja clan, Kamo clan will, he's like, that's what we're about.
I think he's a Zenin too.
Is he Zenin too?
I think he is a Zenin. Yeah.
I thought it was a different clan.
Let's investigate.
Okay, let's investigate. We're not going to pause this.
We're not pausing. We're going straight.
No, we're actually going to go keep talking through this one.
You know what?
Sometimes we'll take pauses, but
yeah.
I thought the Kamo clan was a specific clan that was like a top 3 clan next to Zenin clan, because I don't think he's Zenin. I'm pretty sure he's a Kamo clan guy. And
Noritoshi Kamo. Wait, is that him or? Wait, yeah, that's him. Oh, I guess he cuts his hair later. All right, so spoiler alert: he cuts his hair later. He is the heir to the Kamo clan. I was wrong. So the Nerdy Jock was right again.
Of course, no. You're the wiki here, Dan. We know that Zenin's a clan. We know Kamo's is a different clan, and I don't know the third clan yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
But maybe they announced it earlier and I didn't pay attention, but...
Because there's so much information, it's like, how do you remember all this stuff? But
which is why it does grant a rewatch. So it is a great show to rewatch because you will catch things you missed the first time. I'll give you that.
But this is where it goes off the cliff.
Right.
So we have what I consider a boring but beautifully animated fight between Megumi and Kamo, where Megumi's getting the upper hand. He's using his Shikigami to just beat up Kamo big time, and they're about to finish the fight, but we get this other thing that happens first where Inumaki is in the woods.
Cuts to Inumaki.
He senses cursed energy, and then you see the creepy thing poke out from behind a tree.
He has a huge tongue, very scary, very creepy. I've seen this episode a few times, and like every time I see that, it gives me chills. So
it's creepy as hell.
Great job on the character design for that guy.
Yeah.
But that fear is kind of short-lived, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he's just dead, and you're like, what is this going to be? And then it's Hanami.
So this is a great episode because it does we get to know Hanami more than we know most of our main characters. Okay,
Hanami's speech starts to go in the right direction because in the subtitles, Hanami when she sees Inumaki is like, oh, you're here by yourself, or whatever. And Inumaki is freaked out. And then we're in the middle of this fight. A giant tree just explodes out of the woods.
It kind of does. It does cut. So this episode, it can be kind of hard to follow because there are multiple times it does cut from one scene, one location, back forth without a beat, without any kind of establishing shot. It'll just say, "Oh, here," and now we're here. And so Inumaki and Hanami are having their first introduction, and then Hanami does this thing. It explodes, trees attacking Inumaki, and then it cuts right to the temple where Kamo and Megumi are fighting as well, and then more shit pops up.
Right. I mean, you see the stakes immediately because they look up, they stop fighting,
and they see this huge tree go boom.
Yeah, just boom. They see Inumaki running on the branch, and he who takes care not to say anything, he's like, run.
He says, run. It wasn't like telling him. It was a curse, using curse to say, hey. He's like, we're going to make your body move.
Yeah.
And he says, run, because it's going to kill him. And that's what makes this episode, I love it. And this is where it gets so good because the stakes are just like launched to level 10. We know Hanami is at least a curse level spirit. We know he's probably even stronger than Gojo.
Like these
Curse
guys,
grade.
they're better than special grade,
Special grade.
because they are the personifications of human fear of like the elements. So Hanami represents the fear of forests. Which
near indestructible at this point, from what I can tell.
Oh yeah, I mean only Gojo has gone toe to toe with Jogo so far.
And his head was saved so he didn't get destroyed. So if you crush the head in, that'll kill him too.
So we would assume that the kids are going to have a hard time with this one. And so the thing is completely interrupted. We see Mahito with a new guy who's like a curse energy user who is obsessed with the idea of turning Gojo into a coat rack.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. That guy. What is this guy's name? What's this character's name?
I have it written down in a later episode. Hold on, let me.
What's
jump ahead. His name is
Silence of the Lambs guy.
Juzo.
Yeah, he wants to make
Juzo.
outfits out of people's bodies.
Yeah, Juzo. Yeah, so
Juzo the butcher.
Yeah, so they show up. So earlier, I kind of said in another episode, I feel, and again, this was just based on how the episodes have flown. It's like they're going to set this up and then they're going to just turn it into something else. That this was going to be a Chunin exam thing where the enemy was going to interrupt the thing. And I'm a little disappointed that I was right. I mean,
you know what? I'll be real.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I haven't. Guys, we've got to stop talking about Chuno. What is it? Chuno exam? I haven't seen Naruto.
Chunin exam.
All right, guys. I'm a terrible anime fan. I'm on episode 16. It's a slog so far.
You haven't even finished.
No, I can't. It's like, he's like, oh, I'm going to be the next.
The Zabuza arc. Wow. That's like one of the best first arcs in all of anime.
That's where I'm in the middle of that. I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's a slog.
What you need to do, and what I might be able to help you with, is there are completely legitimate ways to watch something called Naruto Kai, which is a completely official release, which is just shaved down.
As we do, finger quotes, like, air quotes.
I'm being completely sincere, okay. but yeah, it might be less of a slog if you watch Naruto Kai. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I tried to get our mutual friend Mark Dow into Naruto like 15 years ago, and he just kept complaining about all the flashbacks.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you like Dragon Ball Z? You like the Namek saga is just full of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I love flashbacks, but I just can't hear him say, "I'm going to be the next Hokkaido." Like 20 times per episode. Hokage, is that it?
Hokage, yeah.
Hokage, yeah.
Hokkaido is the northernmost island of Japan.
The island of Japan where they have
I'm going to become the island of Hokkaido.
Yeah. Okay, Hokage. I'm sorry, my bad. But like, I just can't, dude. That gets old to me. Like, I'm tired of that already.
But
anyways,
back to this. This is pretty cool because we know Mahito is really, really strong. We know that Hanami is probably really, really strong because Jogo was. And now we are putting kids up against them. The stakes could not be higher. And Hanami,
life or death.
I mean, there's this great moment where just all of the curse charms on the wall back in the principal's office just burst into red flame.
Explode.
And Gakuganji, who's got this little plot going, is like, wait a second. Even he's kind of just like, what's going on? And they're like, well. And Gojo has a funny line where he's like, well, even though I like to call myself Great Teacher Gojo, I can't say that all of Tokyo probably defeated them. It was probably an unknown.
Yeah.
We should go figure this out.
Yeah. Now they've realized that there's a third party or maybe even a fourth party involved as well.
Right. And so Gojo, Gakuganji, and I forget her name, the Gojo counterpart for Kyoto, they're going to go and try to look for the kids and stuff like that together while Megumi, Kamo, and Inumaki are just outrunning Hanami, who's just trying to kill them. It's crazy. I mean, this butcher Juzo, he casts a veil. And then when Gojo and crew kind of get to it, it's an anti-Gojo veil.
It's an anti-Gojo veil. Anyone else can get in and I guess get out. But the one person who can't get in is Gojo. For obvious reasons, he's quite possibly the most powerful character in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Which this part's confusing because Juzo is disappointed that Gojo's not inside of it later because he wants to turn him into a coat rack.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, where's Gojo Satoru? And it's like, wait a minute, it wasn't the point of the veil to keep him out.
And literally that was the next the exact next scene when he mentions that.
When Gakuganji goes inside. Yeah.
He makes the veil. Veil goes down. He's like, where's Gojo? I'm like, dude, he's like, you literally made a veil that kept Gojo out. But whatever, plot.
So he's going to go up against Gakuganji, and I'm so sorry I forget this character's name, Gojo's counterpart from Kyoto. And then just in a complete twist that I was not expecting, because at this point Gakuganji is carrying around this like case, tosses the case aside and whips out a Gibson Flying V electric guitar and just starts shredding on it, like sheds his robes. He's got like a rock shirt. He's jacked as hell and he's just shredding on it. And then that's it. That's all we see of it for this episode.
It's funny because it's a character that they have made me learn to love to hate.
Yes.
And now like when he starts shredding, you're like, you know what? Maybe this Gakuganji guy isn't that bad.
Oh yeah, you hate him. You're like, you hate him, and then the second he starts shredding, you're like,
whoa.
Oh, I like this guy.
Yeah, this guy's pretty cool. Like I'm a fan.
Very superficial, but it's awesome. But you were saying earlier too, like. You know, because now we get to the thing with Hanami. Hanami confronts our three dudes that are running away, and the voice changes.
Exactly.
And you're watching in English. I'm watching in Japanese.
I'm watching in English, and this is probably my most interesting part I want to talk about of this episode is that Hanami is speaking in tongues, and then boom, you see a line across the screen, and then it becomes translated in English. So once again, I got to give max kudos, max credit to the English dub on this. It is superb. Now, Hanami's voice actor in the English dub it's a female voice, like
in Japanese as well,
like Mother Earth. But it's actually her voice is soothing. It's soft. It is relaxing. It is something you'd read in like Pride and Prejudice. It's like it is a very It is almost a loving like tone to how she talks because she is essentially Hanami is like Mother Earth, right? I mean, Hanami is the embodiment of the pain and frustration from all the destruction that humans have put upon the planet Earth, and that's her whole point. Her whole curse is like, I'm tired of humanity, which I guess I'm kind of jumping the gun here a little bit, but why not just talk about it now?
That's fine. It's kind of a cliched idea. Like we've heard this like a million times.
It's been used a million times, but I think her voice in the English dub, whoever they picked, did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Because like not only do you realize immediately that Hanami is extraordinarily powerful, extraordinarily threatening, very, very dangerous, has multiple curse techniques that could kill almost anyone on sight. Yet, her voice is soft, it's inquisitive, she's wondering, she's not like completely judgmental, she's just curious. It's a very curious kind of tone that she talks in. And that really makes it, not only does it make it more dangerous, it makes the character much more interesting than something, oh, I'm going to kill you now kind of thing.
It's soothing and motherly,
Yes.
And the Japanese version too, I got to say. Like they nailed it. It was an interesting juxtaposition. And I mean, this is an example. My only thing, the only rule of storytelling I follow is if it works, it works.
It works.
Like there are certain things that don't work a higher percentage of the time, and there are things that work a higher percentage of the time. For those of you who have been listening along, we've complained a lot about exposition.
Right.
The exposition, I don't really hate it here.
Right.
Like it kind of works
because it makes sense. Because like when Hanami is talking, she's making reference to Megumi because they're fighting right now. There's a lot of great, amazing action sequences happening. They're attacking to no avail. She can regrow into her horns when they knock them off. We're not going to go in the fight sequences detail by detail, but we're just going to kind of go in the overall plot here. Is that she's inquisitive, okay? She's wondering. She's curious. It's not just I hate you, I want to destroy you, this is what happens. She's trying to learn how to find a passion for fighting that Mahito like tells her about in the next episode. But we'll get there.
Basically, like humans need to be culled so that the earth can heal. That kind of thing. Like,
and that's her whole philosophy. But the way she approaches the fight is a very interesting way. So every technique, every attack, she's learning from. But she's not like, oh, I want to destroy you, I want to hate you. She's like, interesting that they would choose this technique to use right now. Like, it's just a really great way of furthering the plot and just making you more interested in learning more about Hanami as a character.
Right. And there is this idea, too, that Hanami could finish them all really quick, but is maybe stalling for time because we know that Mahito is there too. And Mahito has just completely disappeared at this point. So
gone.
Doing something behind the scenes while Hanami is there. as a distraction. And that's basically where this episode ends.
Yes.
Like Hanami, more fights to come. In the next episode, we're really cooking with gas now.
This is getting great, guys.
Yeah, it's getting awesome. I mean, like, obviously, we talked a lot of crap, but we love this episode.
Love this one.
Yeah.
Sage is great. And the next episode, Black Flash, it's coming up next week or later in the week on the pod. Stay tuned for that one because it is. Is it your favorite? It might be my favorite.
The next two are my favorite.
The next two episodes are my favorite of the entire series. So whatever you heard on 17 and 18, the last couple episodes of us of getting a little bit of hate here and there, you're not going to hear that in the next two because it is just 100% badassery.
Spoiler alert, you will hear some more DK complaints in the next couple episodes, but with the caveat that they are my favorite episodes in the show.
They're my favorite episodes.
They're my favorite. And to wrap up too, we have this little JJ Stroll where it's a high school drama between Mahito and crew and stuff like that, where I guess Jogo burnt one of Hanami's plants, and Hanami is really, really sad. But then it turns out that Jogo was burning plants to create more nutrient-rich soil. It was a technique so that Hanami could grow prettier flowers, and they're in love with each other or something. And it just ends on that. It's a pretty cute little stroll. But anyways, join us next time, either later this week or next week for episode 19, Black Flash. See you there.
See you there, guys. All right, good stuff.
Boom.
Boom.